Please hang up and try again.
Freak Radio Network, broadcasting from the Lucas Oil Studios. Driven by General Tire. It's Speed Freaks. Motorsports Radio redefined with Kenny Sargent.
We love to party.
Crash Gladys.
What are we doing for the bachelorette party?
And Statman.
I am serious.
Here's the Freaks.
Well, Freak Nation, if there was ever a time for me to drink a beer, I did it, and I did it yesterday. And you get to a point where, and I'm sure women do the same thing, not just men, you get to a point where it is a perfect opportunity to not only drink the beer, but your body craves a beer. It craves it so much that you shoot that beer, that 16-ounce beer, mind you, in about 15 seconds, because that's what happened with me here in Nashville. I heard James Hinchcliffe, former IndyCar Series pilot, talk about swimming in the humidity here in Nashville. We were swimming, snorkeling. It was crazy humid here in Nashville. I'm here for the IndyCar Series race, the Motor City. Hey, how you doing today, folks? The Music City Grand Prix. The Music NASCAR City Grand Prix. And the humidity was so gnarly that we had a rain delay today to knock down some. It went from 93 to 68 degrees in about 15 minutes.
I'll add to that. I was just at a very small track it's Jefferson Speedway in Wisconsin, but I've been to Wisconsin for some of my TV shoots over the past several years, many times. And I've always loved it because the nights get down into the 60s. No, last night, still at 7 o'clock at night, it was 90 degrees. And I thought I was smart packing pants because I usually get cold in Wisconsin. Mm-hmm. Yeah, freaking thick. That thick air that we had, clearly, I sent it down with one of my Lucas Oil peeps with you in Nashville this weekend because I was so disgusting last night. Got home to the hotel at 1 a.m. and I just stood in the shower. I'm like, it's just the Midwest air right now. Statman, you're in Ohio. How are you doing it?
It's disgusting. It's of the first order. It's disgusting. But you talked about 15 minutes. I've been at rallies in the desert when it's been 95 and the sun will go down. It'll go to 40. And, people think it's the desert. It's hot. And, they're turning blue overnight. Right. It's crazy. So, yeah, I can appreciate that. But right now in the Midwest, it's stupid hot. Mm-hmm. A little cooler today, but the humidity the last couple of days has been, what do they call it? Instead of the wind chill, it's the hot chill. It's over 100 degrees.
The heat index, is that really all it is? Yeah. Ugh. It should be, you're right. Instead of wind chill, it should be heat sweats. Yeah, exactly. It's the hot sweat meter.
Exactly.
Freak Nation, coming up here in the Freak Nation, it's going to be one of those shows that we hope all things go as planned. We've got Dave Prater, Vice President of Feld Motorsports. Big news with Supercross and Motocross that came out last week that we'll talk to him about. $10 million at stake for Supercross, Motocross pilots. Dave Prater, the man who helped arrange this 10 mil, will be joining us here in the Freak Nation. Tony Schumacher, almost said 7-time, 8-time NHRA Top Fuel Champion, finally won with his new team last weekend. He will be here in the Freak Nation. And Beth Paretta and Simona de Silvestro will be here in the Freak Nation. They were set up to run this weekend here at the Music City Grand Prix in Nashville. They did. Were knocked out maybe 3/4 of the way of the race, but we'll hear from those two women and the trails that they both continue to blaze. So it's a big damn show for you, Freak Nation.
Actually, I'm looking forward to that ladies interview with you, Kenny, because I was a part of a text thread last night that said that they were laughing. The both of them were laughing all the way back to the pits after they were with you. What in the heck did you guys talk about?
Real quick here, I know we got pit news and notes coming up. Real quick, Statman, the person responsible for firing Kurt Busch when he was running that Dodge? Beth Paretta.
Girl power.
The person almost responsible for getting Michael Andretti and Dodge into NASCAR.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
So instead, he's trying to go to F1.
Yeah, try.
This was back when she was working for.
Oh, right.
Dodge, Mopar,
Got it.
FCA, FIA company. Pit news and notes coming from Crash Gladys. Going to resume with some affiliates. A big 2 hours here in the Freak Nation, the Lucas Oil Studios.
Speed Freaks, we promise to suck less. Speed Freaks, Motorsports Radio, redefined.
The Freaks.
Bringing in another round of affiliates, Freak Nation, Sunday night. Thank you guys for hanging out. And I'm going to tease this just a little bit. I haven't shared this with Statman. I look forward to next week when all things are signed. We will be bringing in a number of affiliates starting September 11th, thanks to a new partnership that we have on board. Statman, I'll share that with you.
Yeah.
Yep. Crash Gladys Pit News and Notes brought to you by our good friends at General Tire. Go to GeneralTire.com to find the tire for your ride, man. It is crap. You know what? I think General Tires is the only thing that could cut through that freaking humidity today.
Yes.
In Nashville. Go to GeneralTire.com. Mm-hmm. Wasn't that hot at the NASCAR race too?
Why do you think they had a pop-up storm? Yeah.
Yeah, they delayed for half an hour or more too. Yeah, or more, about an hour. Yeah, right.
Yeah. Regardless, get yourself a set of General Tires. It's going to be crap hot for another month. Make sure you're rolling on a new set of rubbers from General Tire. Crasher.
It was the weekend for the Music City Grand Prix. NASCAR and Michigan sports cars finally back. They were at Road America, drifting out west, and a whole heck of a lot more. First, in Nashville, where Kenny is, barely sweating his butt off, the TA2 Trans Am cars ran the streets for the first time, and they experienced their fair share of challenges and learning curves, but avoiding the carnage and slowed drivers was yet again, I love this story, 14-year-old Brent Cruz with his second consecutive win in the series, and now he can add a tight street circuit on his resume with Trackhouse Racing. Just awesome. Stadium Super Trucks also raced. Robert Stout putting that fine Lucas Oil logo on the pole, but it was Matt Brabham. He's just plain too good at almost every place they race. Brabham with another win. Then it was IndyCar's turn. Actually, Mother Nature took her turn first, then IndyCar, which saw a race somewhat similar to last year's Carnage Fest. What did you call it, Statman? Carnage Palooza? But here's the deal. Carnage Palooza. Amongst the broken parts and pieces last year and this year, we've had excitement for the fans in attendance as eventual winners. Marcus Ericsson last year and Scott Dixon this year, they both came back from, well, events in the race, crashes, to take wins for the Music City crowds. There's something to be said about that, aside from the millions of dollars that were lost. Speaking of Mother Nature, though, she had her way with NASCAR at Michigan International Speedway on Sunday. Yeah, just a tad. But not when Nick Sanchez won in the ARCA Series, Ty Gibbs with victory in the Xfinity Series, and Bubba Wallace vaulting his ride onto the Cup pole for Sunday. I was stoked because, I knew you had Bubba in your picks for Beat the Freaks this week to win a set of General Tires. But Bubba, what happened?
Freaks,
I was bummed.
Radio,
Kevin,
redefined.
One of the main reasons for poor vehicle performance is a dirty fuel system. It can cause decreased fuel economy and actually do harm to your engine over time. By adding Lucas Fuel Treatment to your vehicle, it cleans and lubricates the entire fuel system, pump, carburetors, fuel injectors, and valves as you drive. It also improves your vehicle's performance. It's a non-solvent product designed to protect both gasoline and diesel engines. Lucas Fuel Treatment. It works.
General Tire was born more than 100 years ago, right here in America. We've spent the last century tackling every kind of road this country has to offer, and especially the places without roads. So you know that with General Tire, anywhere is possible.
Lucas Oil, it works.
I run Lucas Oil.
It doesn't matter if you're on the water,
driving to work,
or competing in a sold-out stadium.
Lucas Oil products will help you get the most out of your vehicle.
Monster Jam has run Lucas Oil in and on our trucks for over 10 years.
We wouldn't run anything else.
Lucas Oil, the official oil of Monster Jam.
Hey, Freak Nation, did you hear? With the addition of MAV TV Plus to the MAV TV Motorsports Network, they've got their full live event broadcast schedule, a total of 226 live race broadcasts featuring the ARCA Menard Series, the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series, Pro Pulling League, American Sprint Car Series, Pro Motocross, and the Lucas Oil Chili Bowl Nationals. MAV TV, the only television network dedicated to motorsports. Go to mavtv.com to get your motorsports fix 24/7, 365.
There is less than 1/100th of an inch of motor oil protecting your car's engine. Friction and heat causes engine oil to experience thermal breakdown, weakening its ability to protect the engine and its parts. Lucas Heavy Duty Oil Stabilizer is specially formulated to resist thermal breakdown, protect vital engine parts, and extend the life of your engine. It also stops smoking, knocking, and oil consumption in worn engines. Lucas Heavy Duty Oil Stabilizer. Keep that engine alive.
Hey, Freak Nation, whether you're looking for a tire that balances high-performance responsiveness and traction in wet and light snow conditions, excellent handling and traction in off-road situations, or a summer performance tire designed with the driving enthusiast in mind, General Tire has you covered. From the G-Max RS to the Grabber ATX, no matter what you drive, General Tire will get you where you're going. Learn more at GeneralTire.com. General Tire, supporting the Freak Nation for 2 decades.
You're listening to Speed Freaks, Motorsports Radio Redefined.
Freak Nation, if it sounds kind of strange, a little hollow where I am, well, it's because I'm in a locker room. I'm in a locker room. You can't see behind me the Speed Freak sign. If you're watching on YouTube, there are lockers behind me. I am in one of the locker rooms at Nissan Stadium where the Titans play, and one of these sub locker rooms of Titan Stadium is for one of Statman's favorite teams, the Tennessee State Tigers. Ladies and gentlemen. Yeah.
Cool. World class cool.
Yep. So I'm in one of their locker rooms. In fact, there's a lot of scribbling on one of these whiteboards around here in regards to, I guess, monster trucks were here about 3 weeks ago. There's a lot of monster truck. There's Taco Tuesdays. I had a lot of things going on here. Regardless, Freak Nation, this segment brought to you by our good friends at Lucas Oil. Go to lucasoil.com. That's lucasoil.com to find the products to keep your motors, motorcycle, speedboat, pontoon boat, or a goat. What year, Statman?
67.
Goat.
Blue with the white vinyl interior.
Fat and happy. Go to lucasoil.com. I saw the last 5 laps of the NASCAR race. I saw that Statman's second favorite driver, Kevin Hamlin. Kevin Harvick got a win. And is he in for sure? Given all these different winners in the NASCAR Cup Series?
Well, he's not in for sure, but yeah, he's in until I don't think they have 16 winners yet. I think it's like 14 or 15, but yeah, he's in right now.
What's that, Crasher? Now, why is Crasher muted right now? Crasher, are you muted? Yes, you are. You are muted.
I did not think I was muted. Sorry about that.
Okay, go ahead.
I believe it's 15 now, but yeah, points are going to be of the essence. Only a couple more races to go, and you gotta score points, period, to be in that top 16.
Or do like Reddick did and get a second win, and
exactly.
that'll bump you way up the ladder.
Yeah.
Hey, we've got about 7 minutes here, and I want to devote it to this IndyCar race. That's where I've been the last couple of days. Today's race was delayed because of the rain. Yesterday was fun if you could just separate yourself. Frankly, you couldn't separate yourself from the humidity. I shotgunned a beer, Statman. Like I said at the top of the show, I shotgunned a beer, 16-ouncer, in about 15 seconds. I took a breath, and it felt so good. But I will say this, man. I went downtown and checked out, again, some of the partying. This is like Vegas on acid, except without the gambling.
Acid.
It just
now that's a choice for Nashville.
You take if you're watching me on YouTube or if you're listening to us on one of our affiliates, take your hands in front of you, put them out there like you're holding a book. Take it and kind of squeeze it together. That's what Nashville and this whole area is you take the strip of Las Vegas and squeeze it together like a book. And you got all these damn people in this like 4 or 5 corners, and it's God. I've never heard so much freaking live music in 9-iron distance as I did last night. This was I went to a Eddie V's seafood restaurant.
Okay,
a very nice seafood restaurant, steak restaurant, to listen to a piano player because it was so damn loud. I was in a there have to be dead bodies on the street Saturday and Sunday mornings because there's crazy. You talk about shrapnel and carnage. That's the party on the street here in Nashville, Stat.
Wow. Instead of saying it's on acid, you ought to say it's on barbecue sauce. We were there once when did we go to earlier when we were on TV? We went to Nashville a couple of times. And,
I passed the bar where you. I passed your bar where you did the bit with barbecue, right there on Broadway. Yep.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, they put barbecue sauce. We went to a tractor pull once, and they fried everything. They fried Oreos, Snickers, beer, ice cream, everything. In Nashville, they put barbecue sauce on everything.
That's a good comparison.
They put barbecue sauce on Snickers. Now, Snickers is one of my major food groups, and you probably get 4 different kinds of options for barbecue sauce at the local bodega when you go buy a Snickers. So you have to say that the craziness is not on acid, it's on barbecue sauce.
Now, Kenny, we were just there 4 years ago now for the NFL draft. And I remember the bars were just wicked cool then. Has it changed? Has it even upgraded since then? Is the madness matter?
It was minus the NFL stage and whole presentation. So there was a whole wing of gnarlatry that went on. That I can't.
You gotta remember that. You gotta write that down. Gnarlatry.
So 2 words so far from the show: gnarlatry and carnage palooza.
Yeah, gnarly.
And they both have to do with Nashville this weekend in the Music City Grand Prix.
Okay, 2.5 minutes.
Gnarly. It was a gnarly race. Gnarlatry in the IndyCar race.
Yeah.
And wouldn't you know it, there's so much to talk about with that IndyCar Series race that we're going to run out of time in this segment. That we got to get to Tony Schumacher, 8-time NHRA Top Fuel Champion. We'll have time to talk more about it at the top of the next hour. But Scott Dixon, at one time, weren't we discount like where's Scott Dixon been? Like 3 or 4 races into the season, but holy smokes, there he is, Stat. Vying for another championship.
That's what he did his last championship, wasn't when he had to win at Sonoma to take over a
couple championships ago. Yeah.
So, he's coming back again. You never count out Dixon. Never count out Dixon. You know, we were picking against him earlier in the year, and I said, hey, we can't do that. We're going to pay for that.
It was cool to see the 2 New Zealand Scots vying for it at the end there. That was cool. Because I don't know how much longer Scott Dixon's going to be doing this. So to see them fighting it out, that country is just upside down right now with excitement. So that was neat. That was a good way to send it off.
Watching the race is much different. Watching the race live is much different than what you guys saw on TV.
Oh, I can imagine.
You guys, again, could see how tight some of these turns and straightaways were, but just the coming off the bridge into that dog leg to the left is nuts. I don't know the speeds that they are coming off that bridge. It's probably close to 200, and gearing down to get into that turn is crazy. And watching that live, again, you can't explain it unless you see it live.
Yeah, they say
Right.
that crossing over the top of the bridge, when you're going downhill before you start the braking, they say it's like 180. That
Wow.
just I texted during between the three of us that you can't beat bumpy and tight, and it's stupid. It's stupid to have street bumps, walls, tight turns. They had one, like they're racing through an alley at one section of it.
Mhm.
You can barely get the one car in there, one car width. I mean, it's crazy. And
They've done it for 30 some odd years at Long Beach, and NASCAR is going to attempt to do it in Chicago next year.
Nothing as narrow as what they have at Nashville. Nothing in Long
Okay.
Beach.
You really think Nashville is more narrow than St. Pete and Long Beach? Because I feel like Long Beach is the most narrow.
Without question.
Wow. Okay. Huh. Interesting.
The debate will continue next hour, Freak Nation. We've got 8-time NHRA Top Fuel Champion Tony Schumacher coming up. Your stat man Scat as well. Next hour, Beth Paretta and Simona de Silvestro, who did run today, but some of the bombs that Beth Paretta, formerly with Dodge Motorsports, Mopar, now team owner here with the IndyCar Series, the bombs that she drops with her previous time with Dodge and Mopar are awesome. And then Dave Prater, Supercross, Motocross, made a whole hell of a lot of noise this past weekend, $10 million worth. He'll be joining us here in the Freak Nation. Tony Schumacher coming up, but first, your stat man, Scat.
It looks like the athlete empowerment issues that have attacked the stick and ball sports are about to invade the motorsports garage as well. But in this industry, driver agents and sponsors are pulling the strings. In some cases, the drivers just are puppets in a play. Perfect example in NASCAR is going on at 2311 Racing, where Kurt Busch has been sidelined indefinitely and replaced by Ty Gibbs. Obviously, I'm not a doctor. I don't know what the health problems are that Kurt Busch is facing. But it does appear that it's convenient that both Busch and Gibbs are sponsored by Monster Energy Drink. And the convenience goes further to the actual 2311 team. That's a satellite program of Joe Gibbs Racing. Joe Gibbs happens to be Ty Gibbs' grandfather. Get the picture? There was already a feeling that Kurt Busch was in his last season after a brilliant career. He's a 2004 NASCAR Cup Series champion, 2017 Daytona 500 winner, and has more career starts than any other driver in the NASCAR garage. To me, the brilliance of his career stretched to the 2014 Indy 500, where he ran near the front, finished sixth, and was Rookie of the Year. That alone made me a fan. I think, though, that he deserves the right to go out of NASCAR with something more than a sideline lounger and a chilled can of Monster Energy Drink. Peace.
"22 years, Freak Nation, doing it from the Lucas Oil Studios. Thank you guys for being a part of these 22 years or 2 months or 22 minutes. Regardless, thank you for being a part of the Freak Nation. If you're watching us on YouTube, Facebook Live, Twitch, hey, man, look at our big smile and faces coming up in moments. Multi-time NHRA Top Fuel Champion finally got himself a win with this new Top Fuel dragster, Tony Schumacher, will be here in the Freak Nation. But first, our friends at Lucas Oil want to remind you, freaks, it's hot out there. Your engine, it's extremely hot during the summer. They've got products to keep your engine running smooth and cooler than it should be. Well, in other words, to cool down your engine, to keep your car looking spiffy outside your car, go to lucasoil.com. That's lucasoil.com to find the products to keep your engine and your car fat and happy. As I said, Tony Schumacher joining us here in the Freak Nation, and looking at Tony hanging out on a freaking lake. Go ahead and get it over with, brother. Where the hell are you right now?
Well, we're out in Wisconsin. We're going to visit Skag Power Equipment tomorrow. We're going to do a tour, a picnic, and we're down on Big Cedar Lake. Going to take a pontoon boat across there, have a nice dinner, and get ready for this thing. But it's just having a great time, man. It's nice because I left Austin, and Austin has been 105 degrees. Even Seattle was uncommonly brutally hot. Mm-hmm. You know, it was an awesome win, but getting through the conditions, man, it was kind of abusive. 140-degree racetrack with all that air that, you know, a place like Seattle produces. It was a tough race.
Hey, Tony Schumacher finally got himself a win with this new car and now new team. You taking a pontoon boat across the ocean? That's like me hopping on the back of a sloth and running a quarter mile, bro. It's going to take you freaking weeks to get across the ocean, given the fact that you go
ocean or lake,
going 320 miles an hour, Broham.
Yeah, it's going to take a little time, but I'm not an impatient man when it comes to my off days, so I'm good. When you drive 330 miles an hour day in and day out for a job, it's just fine to get on a pontoon boat, toss a line in the water. Got to breathe, man, because we have been 3 races straight, you know, and I think people forget that. That is you go to Denver, right? You're up at thousands and thousands of feet in the air. Then you go down to sea level in Sonoma, and then Seattle is kind of it's a brutal 3 weeks. And then we're here this week at Skag Nation, and then we're going to go off. We run Topeka, and we run Brainerd, Minnesota. So 6 weeks on the road, but it's what we do. You know, you got to get used to it. But when we're out here and we're doing a picnic with Skag, one of our major sponsors, it's great to be able to chill out, enjoy some lake time, and really, this is awesome. I mean, we just flew in, got here 15 minutes ago.
Crasher, I know you want to jump in here, but I'm curious. You had a big fat cigar. Does Skag not want you smoking cigars on camera? Bro, that's how Statman and I met, by, you know, exchanging slop on a freaking Cohiba.
Absolutely. Understand. Just, you know, I can't talk with it in my mouth. My dad's getting better at talking with it in his mouth because he's always there, but you know, we're doing a respect thing. Little kids watching. You know how it is.
Kids watching. If kids are watching our show, we're in trouble.
Yeah.
Tony Schumacher, multi-time Top Fuel Champion, joining us here in the SpeedFreaks pits. And I want to elaborate a little bit more on what you said about that Western swing, because I think there's a select group of fans that understand the difficulties of that, but there's a wider group of fans, just racing fans in general, who don't. So how do you keep your mental side strong come Seattle when you didn't win Denver, you didn't win Sonoma, and you're on this third dragging week of the Western swing? How did you keep yourself up and ready for what actually happened to you, a big win?
Well, I mean, that's a really good question. You have to be positive at each race you go to, and we knew that there was a light at the end of the tunnel. It was, you know, my crew chief, Todd Okahara, was actually sick, and he was back in Indianapolis. And Phil Schuler, who used to be my assistant crew chief, he came back to help out, work with Mark Denner, and those two sat in a room and you know, sat up in that race car trailer, and with Todd back in the shop on the computer using the mouse, they worked out a tune-up, went out, and the car ran good. We actually qualified third, which was our highest qualifying position of the year. We're used to qualifying number 1, 2, 3, 4 all year long. This is not common to me, and I knew that we had some things we had to work through, but we've had some little problems, and we got rid of those problems. The car started to perform, but I still knew. I got up Sunday morning, and I still knew that looking at that ladder, this is a big battle. I mean, these are really good teams, excellent drivers all along the way to get there. But for whatever reason, I had a feeling. I told the guys at the beginning, I said, this is our day. We all said that. I mean, my wife, Summer, said the same thing. We sat there, and we looked at the car. She had, what was that stuff we put around it?
Palo Santo.
Palo Santo. She went around there. I said,
it.
you can't sage it. You can't sage this thing. You scare me because that gets rid of the evil stuff. I said, I don't want my life sucked away from me. I just want to bring some positive in. You know, I said, could you imagine that? They start taking all the demons away. You end up just an empty shell sitting there. I said, I can't do that. Give me a break. I just need to go out and bring some positive in. And before every run, she had my helmet smelled like it, you know, and we just went out and we were running. I think Phil said it best, because sometimes you get that stress ball on you and you can't figure out what to do. And all of a sudden someone comes up and goes, dude, are you having fun? And I went, yeah, you still get to drive a race car. This is crazy. We're in Seattle. It's a beautiful place. Let's have a good time. And let's just race like we know how to do it. You go out and you win those first races. And I got to tell you, there's kids on my team, so many of them that 20 years old, never held a trophy, never held a Wally in their life. Some of them, this is the first time they ever saw round wins. It was insane for them. So once a kid learns that, these are in training. Once they learn that, they figured out how to get to that final round, win that thing over a car like Brittany Force's car. I mean, Max Savage and David Grebnick have that car running so well. You go out and you beat them. People go, "Oh, she smoked the tires. She beat herself." Yeah. Who pushed her to do that? You end up doing that. There's some people don't just go out and randomly smoke the tires. You got to force them into where they have to go fast. And that's just the way it is. You look at second round. You look at, second round. I'm running Langdon, and he has a 130-something light. That is one of the best levers on the planet. You force them to do that by also being good enough where they got to push it. And they push it, and they double step it. We both did. He pushed me, I pushed him, and we ended up, there has to be a winner. And I think that's the people who really won on that one was with the fans, man. They got to see an absolutely epic race. That thing, and then third round, right? Justin Ashley, that kid's going to strap you with a 55. Problem is, the track's a quarter mile long, or 1,000 foot now. It's a long way to get down, and you have to be able to navigate the whole racetrack, not just the start line.
So what I'm hearing you say, Tony, is that mechanical whatever for the first part of the season, that's arguably done now. But what's your real weapon is the Tony Schumacher mental game on the line in the staging lanes is back and better than ever. And look out, people.
Well, my mental game usually is pretty good, but my team's mental game is much better. They're new and they were nervous and scared. And, this was all brand new to them. None of them had ever worked with each other. None of them had worked with me. I had never worked with Todd Okahara before. So all of it starts to come together. We made a few parts changes, and the car goes down the racetrack, and then you smile, and you go, you know what? We knew it. We knew it was something like that. And our problem, our situation, you've heard me say this, we don't have a problem. A problem is, when you have something like me, but you got your high school friends working on it. I don't have a problem. I got geniuses building my car. I have a situation. And the situation is Brittany is still running a 10th better than everybody. She's still running 20 miles an hour faster than us. We will figure it out, and we will catch her. But she has been outstanding for a couple of years. And our real serious issue is that she's figured out how to hit the gas on time. And now that she's done that, that is a championship contending car.
And this conversation with 8-time NHRA Top Fuel Champion Tony Schumacher, it continues next. SpeedFreaks Pits and the Lucas Oil Studios.
Speed Freaks, Motorsports Radio, redefined.
Hey, Freak Nation, whether you're looking for a tire that balances high-performance responsiveness and traction in wet and light snow conditions, excellent handling and traction in off-road situations, or a summer performance tire designed with the driving enthusiast in mind, General Tire has you covered. From the G-Max RS to the Grabber ATX, no matter what you drive, General Tire will get you where you're going. Learn more at GeneralTire.com. General Tire, supporting the Freak Nation for 2 decades.
Lucas Oil, it works.
I run Lucas Oil.
It doesn't matter if you're on the water,
driving to work,
or competing in a sold-out stadium.
Lucas Oil products will help you get the most out of your vehicle.
Monster Jam has run Lucas Oil in and on our trucks for over 10 years.
we wouldn't run anything else.
Lucas Oil, the official oil of Monster Jam.
An American racing icon, 7-time world champion, 4 all-star race titles, the winner of 83 of the biggest races on the planet, and now he's chasing history in his first NTT Data IndyCar Series win. Jimmy Johnson is coming to Worldwide Technology Raceway on August 19th and 20th in his first St. Louis appearance in 21 years. The Bommarito Automotive Group 500. Get your tickets now at WWTRaceway.com.
Hey, Freak Nation, did you hear? With the addition of MAV TV Plus to the MAV TV Motorsports Network, they've got their full live event broadcast schedule, a total of 226 live race broadcasts featuring the ARCA Menard Series, the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series, Pro Pulling League, American Sprint Car Series, Pro Motocross, and the Lucas Oil Chili Bowl Nationals. MAV TV, the only television network dedicated to motorsports. Go to MAVTV.com to get your motorsports fix 24/7, 365.
Time is more valuable today. There's less time to keep our vehicles looking their best. That's where Lucas Oil Slick Mist Speed Wax steps up. It's great for paint, chrome, glass, and vinyl. Lucas Oil Slick Mist simply mists on and then wipes off, leaving a new car shine every time. It's quick and easy and works on wet or dry surfaces. For a complete detail, there's also Slick Mist Interior or Slick Mist Tire and Trim Shine. Lucas Oil, it works.
One of the main reasons for poor vehicle performance is a dirty fuel system. It can cause decreased fuel economy and actually do harm to your engine over time. By adding Lucas fuel treatment to your vehicle, it cleans and lubricates the entire fuel system. Pump, carburetors, fuel injectors, and valves as you drive. It also improves your vehicle's performance. It's a non-solvent product designed to protect both gasoline and diesel engines. Lucas Fuel Treatment. It works.
Freak Nation, is still awfully hot out there. It is summertime. Make sure you're rolling on a new set of General tires. Summer is still here. Still lots of travel to go. Make sure you're rolling on those fat General tires. For more, go to generaltire.com. That's generaltire.com. We resume our conversation with 8-time NHRA Top Fuel Champion Tony Schumacher, sitting by Lakeside.
Tony Schumacher, the winner of the Western Swing in Seattle. It's great to have you, dude. You mentioned the young kids on your team. Do they know you're a Hall of Famer?
Yeah, they're great people. They all enjoy being there. I'm really enjoying, the adversity part has been my thing for a long time. I've been there before, struggled before, won championships, coming back from things, but I really like building these kids up, man. And they're having an outstanding time.
Elric left to go to Syria the day.
Oh, yeah. Matter of fact, we had a guy, Elric, on our team that, he was hospitality. He's been working with us, but he was Army Reserves. He left that night to go to Syria. He had been all this time. We said, get over here, man. We had sent photos to all his friends in Syria, all the people that were waiting on his plane to get there. He's a military dude that had his time at home. You know how that's how the reserves work. And he was leaving for Syria Sunday night at midnight. He gets to take photos with the trophy on the start line. He was sending them because none of them believed him. He said, I work on a race team. And they're like, yeah, right. And he got to send pictures in the winter circle. So look, he's going to be gone for a year. We're going to miss him, but he is looking forward to getting back. Guaranteed those days in Syria, which is not the nicest place right now. Those days over there, he's going to be able to look forward to something. And we got to give him that. We got to give him an epic time on the way out the door to go serve his country and defend our freedoms.
Tony Schumacher, you're 11th in points. You got to be in the top 10 here in another race or so to get into the playoffs. You got that in your team?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And we got to look back. We've had 3 oil downs at the beginning of the year. We had a serious clutch problem. It was malfunctioning, and we had to make a change. But we had 30 points that we lost. We'd actually be in 9th. So I don't hold anyone against that. We made those mistakes. Those points cost us where we are. But we're 10. We were 100 and something out of first, or out of 10th. And in one race, we ended up 10 points out. And we're really only 30 or 40 points out of 8th, 9th, 7th. So we're all, top 5 are in the real secure from 6 on, man. They're in a dangerous spot. I'm coming for them.
Let me ask you one more here before we turn it over to the rest of the crowd. You know how to win championships. And are you holding a seminar to teach everybody else how to do this and to get to a point where you could just drive the car, or are you still a teacher while you're driving the car at this point in your team's maturation?
I think you just let them believe it. We've had many team meetings and you talk about it. You say, look, I have been here before. You guys are doing a great job. We have to learn. We got to knock down some of the mistakes, which I've made, you've made. It doesn't matter, but forget about all that stuff. Let's look at the next race. Let's look at where we are. And Robert Height went from winning a championship from the number 10 spot. So it can be done. It has been done. And I plan on doing it again. Our problem is not that. Our problem is that we're still slower than some of the other cars. we can only do that if we start performing at the level we absolutely have to perform at.
Tony Schumacher, 8-time NHRA Top Fuel Champion, joining us here on the Freak Nation. And Tony, how long do you think we've known each other?
25 years.
That's true. You and I have probably known each other before we started SpeedFreaks.
Yeah.
And we started SpeedFreaks 22 years ago, but I want to go back 17 years, buddy. And let's reflect on a topic that we had with you on the stage while we were on Speed Channel. You ready for this?
Oh, boy.
Some bombs. Off the record,
we dropped some bombs out there. You were involved with the controversy early on in the season with the Coletta group out there.
Mm-hmm.
What really happened, Tony Schumacher? What really happened?
I was asked about what I thought about Coletta, Doug Coletta, and did I think Rubnik red lit? And what I said, and I was clear about it, man, and we talked about it too. I said if I won a race where 2 people red light, I would put that trophy in a closet, man, because winning a world championship with one car, that rules the world. You get out and there is no controversy, there's no question about it. You're proud of it. Every single race you won, you did it by yourself.
Why did that piss people off, Schumacher? Why did that piss the Coletta camp off and their fans?
Well, okay, we're talking about should Earnhardt and Gordon, should they be in the points chase? You know what? If you want to be in the points chase, lead the points.
Thank you.
That's it. That's as simple. Don't get free points. Don't get a mulligan, man. There ain't no mulligans here.
No free passes on the race.
I've screwed up twice. The first race of this year, man, I went there, double clutched it, that thing wheel stood, smoked the tires. It ain't, and I believe me, I wanted to call a mulligan right there, but you can't. You can't, man. It's game over. You pack it up, you walk back, you say, sorry,
but Tony,
guys.
you do what you have to do to win within the rules. There's nothing wrong with Coletta doing what they did if they did it on purpose.
They did not do it on purpose. And I came out and said, I don't think they did it on purpose. Did Grubnik red light? Absolutely. And if I red light, it's no good. If Melanie red lights against me, we're going to get the same kind of heat for it. If I red light against her, it'll be okay because it's not a championship deal.
How about that, Schumacher?
How about it? That happens.
Yep.
and we'll still see it happen. What I can say now is we're only a one-car team, so I can't do it.
Right.
Why I wanted to play that clip, Tony, is you've been coming in here, at least Speed Freaks on the radio show, for 22 years. And I think that's what's been at least the attraction for both of us is you're not afraid to speak your mind. You spoke your mind many times, whether controversy was involved or not. Have you softened at all now at your ripe old age?
I have not. There's really no teams left to do that kind of stuff. Everyone's gone, right? My dad had 8 teams at once. We had, I think, Hagen and one of them did one time looked like they did something. They got their butt chewed also. So, me, in all the years, we can't look back on one single run. The one time that Melanie could have taken a dive for me and I could have won the championship, I had to also set a world record.
Oh, that's right.
So for whatever reason, it's been a gift of a career where there is no way to look back on any single run and say, they lost, you won. Because they threw it, you won. And that is a blessing, man. I never have to ever feel at any point that someone took a dive for me to give me a win. I think that's unfortunate. We talk about the different people that we've seen do that, and it's a letdown, man. I mean, who's really paying the money? The fans are paying the money to come out and see a good, honest race. And they want to call the champ because they earned it. So anyone in any sport that does that, lays down for a particular run, makes it look obvious, and we've seen it happen a few times. It's a little sad for the sport. I understand there's a big paycheck involved. I get that someone would do that. 5 years down the road, you forget that it happened and you're just the champ. But, here, I lost a championship with a 57 light running low ET of the weekend against Bernstein. Bernstein in the final round in Pomona. It cost me a championship. Antron won the championship because of that, right? And actually, he won because he had won several races that year and had a dominant car. He just had a bad Pomona. Had I won that round, it would have ruined Coletta. I ruined Coletta. It would have. I'm sorry about that. That's in the back of my mind.
We get it.
But it would have done the same thing that it did to Hot Rod, to Coletta, and to Antron. And the truth is, I got whipped. I'd love to have that back and be able to go out and do it, but people are going to take chances like that. So I don't know. I like to see that. I don't want to call myself a 9-time champ when in truth I got beat. So I want it to be right. I want, and maybe it's easy with 8 championships like that to be able to say, oh, I could give one up, but not really. You know, like I like to fight for them. The ones that mean the most, by far, are the ones that were the hardest, man. The run, obviously, insane. But then to come back and do it the year after that against Hot Rod, where you're 4th in the points coming in and you do it again, just been blessed with some of those moments. And I think anyone that wins a championship, and Coletta's going to win a championship, and when he does it, he wants to do it right. Here, people said, oh, you should have got points taken away for not shutting off Saturday night. I go, okay, in promote during the run. I said, you mean to tell me you think I should get 10 points taken away, and you're fans, so you're deciding for me. So you want me to lose 10 points, then Coletta becomes the world champ. I set the world record, won the race, and you think Doug wants to put that trophy on his shelf? You think Doug wants to say, I won the championship because Tony set the world record, won the race, did a miraculous pass with the greatest team in the history of the sport ever existed, but they lost 10 points because of an oil heat. So I got the championship. Of course not. You know, who wants that championship? And Doug Coletta doesn't need the money. That Coletta family has done some serious, awesome stuff, man. And I'm telling you, not only are they great dudes, but they've flown more flights for the military than our military flies. They have really done a great job. So I'm proud of those guys. And when Doug wins that championship, I'll be the first guy over there to shake his hands.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
Yeah, let that resonate.
That's awesome.
And I know Stat wants to ask the same thing, and it's probably a rhetorical question. That was that run against Coletta in the final and that world speed or that world record that you set. Was there anything bigger in your life? I know just the implications of that run.
I mean, my 3 kids. You know.
Well, okay, racing wise.
Come on, bro.
No, definitely not. I mean, that will go down as the greatest run in the history of the sport.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, I get Garlett shaving his beard was important. That was a big thing. You know, but as far as textbook movie written, let's start at the beginning. You were 330 points back, and you came back. There can't be. You couldn't have written that script any better. We had to suck so bad at the beginning to be in the position we were in, to be so good at the end, to come back and do that. And I think, a movie's destined to be written about that.
But hold on, you were kind of in that scenario again right now, 2022. It's sort of rewriting history. I mean, I don't want to jinx anything, but the path is similar.
Yeah, and then even when Alan Johnson retired, okay, in 2008, we won 15 races out of 22 or 23, 19 final rounds. He goes over and tunes for Dixon, right? It starts his own team, and we hire Mike Green, and we bring Mike over, and new guys that I had never met before, and we beat him. So I've had moments that are close to that run, but not everything had to be right. The earth had to rotate. God's hand was on that car, and it had to be, because there was no physical way that a bunch of guys got together and came up with a plan for that.
Well, wait a minute. Let me jump in here. You got to be lucky that you're not in Formula One, because they could come up with a plan to take you out on the last lap of a full season, and they decide this ain't your championship, we're taking it away.
Absolutely. And here, that's a great thought, because the reason that the countdown and the 6 races in the countdown doesn't have a 4 wide, in there at all, is exactly that. Say that it's me and 3 DSR cars at the time and a Coletta. And Coletta's leading there. We could go up there and do all kinds of things to throw him off, to make him exactly the purpose. NASCAR does the same thing. They have that opportunity. I don't drive Formula One for a lot of reasons. One, all the turns would bother the hell out of me. I struggle with them. This year I've been struggling with the straightaways, but the turns are really hard on me. 2, I don't even have a bank in that under my name that could take the amount of payroll they get. I would have to beg them to put the deposits in that big. They're not used to seeing that kind of money going in my account. So there's the other problem. And I don't know, there's got to be a third problem. I'm too tall. Too tall. My wife says I'm too tall, I'm too heavy, and I won't drive without a canopy. How about that? I've always said it. So until they those halos they got are cool. Parts can still get in there. They got to come up with a way to do that. And there's no way. there's no way to enclose something like that narrow that you can still see out of.
And be comfortable. Yeah, no.
Comfortable. That's like you're getting hit. You need air conditioning in there because you're getting hit by the sun going through that like a magnifying glass.
Are you going to be skiing on that lake behind you later?
You know what? If there's a ski, if there's a slalom out there, I might take a whip at it tomorrow. We'll see.
I was told to ask you, are you still skiing in a Speedo?
Yeah, no. Yeah, we're a Speedo. Yeah.
That's cool.
Just got to put the O there.
Well, brother, as always, good to get you in the Freak Nation. Go out and win yourself another, and we'll get you back in here, bud.
Sounds great. Look forward to it.
Momentum. Let's do it.
All right, buddy. See you, man.
See ya.
Tony Schumacher.
8-time champ.
Statman. 8-time champion.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, I mean, what more can you say? Especially that one run against Coletta.
Yeah.
Come on. I mean, you got to win the round. You got to set a world record. And he just said, all right, here we go. I got to do it. I'm going to do it. And sent Coletta into the trailer for looking for something to dry his eyes.
And he rightfully was awarded Driver of the Year that year because of that, wasn't he? I remember vaguely the PRI show that year, and he finally, a drag racer got it over a NASCAR guy. Yeah, that was just one of the most incredible runs ever, as we just talked about.
Yeah, you don't think about that often, but who's the greatest driver next to John Force?
Garlitz has always been in the conversation.
Yeah, you got to go.
Tony has to be there.
You got to go with Shirley for all the stuff that she put up with and winning championships. She hasn't won 8 or didn't win 8, but she put up with 8 championships worth of misery from some idiot people. She's got to be in that top 5 for greatest of all time.
Agreed.
Yeah, if we're including elements outside the car, it's tough to argue that she's the greatest. But if you just want to go on numbers, I think he has or is right at close to 90 wins.
Oh, yes. This Seattle was 89. So, yes,
right?
You're right.
80?
Mm-hmm.
What?
Yeah. Hey, it's good to see that he's coming back and that he can bring a team from nowhere, and suddenly compete. If he gets in the top 10 and he wins another couple of rounds, it might be in the top 10. He's got a shot at a championship. Like you said, Height has won it from 10th place. There's the reason why he can't do it. And he doesn't even have the strength of his father's technical center and expertise to make it happen. He's out there on his own.
Well, there's still a partnership there. So they've got some of that, but his dad is pretty much hands off. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not like being that whole row of trailers where you go in and out of the same technical center and get all of that stuff. It's like saying a satellite team with Joe Gibbs Racing. Funny how that works.
Mm-hmm. I never thought about that when it comes to the 4-wide racing, how that's so true. If the final, you've got 4 of the same owned cars up there and you got a championship car in that.
Or 3 in 1. Yeah. And how you can really sabotage that one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, I that's another reason. I never thought of that either, but that's another reason why I don't like the 4-wide.
Check.
That's another box. Maybe we had to add on a sheet to the sheet so we can get more boxes to check off why I don't like the 4-wide.
Statman's anti-4-wide checklist.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
Freak Nation, that's why I like doing this damn show for 22 years, because you could go on and on with an 8-time NHRA Top Fuel Champion like that, Tony Schumacher. More freaks coming up.
Please hang up and try again.
Freak Radio Network, broadcasting from the Lucas Oil Studios. Driven by General Tire. It's Speed Freaks. Motorsports Radio redefined with Kenny Sargent.
We love to party.
Crash Gladys.
What are we doing for the bachelorette party?
And Statman.
I am serious.
Here's the Freaks.
second hour of the Freaks. Thank you guys for hanging out. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram are there for you. The website, speedfreaks.tv. Sirius XM, affiliates across the country, every freaking audio app you can imagine. Bam, we're there for you. I'm hanging out in the bowels of Nissan Stadium where your Tennessee Titans play, which is my understanding that as early as December, they could start on a new stadium for the Titans, which, by the way, the new stadium will just be, it'll move another 50 feet over into where the paddock is for the IndyCar series. So that might present some problems.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So here we're thinking this Music City Grand Prix is going to go on for 30 some odd years like the Long Beach Grand Prix, but you're saying they're going to build around that.
I didn't say they were canceling the GP, Crasher. I just said
you didn't say that.
IndyCar and Statman's rich-ass owners are going to have to find a new place to put those hot rods in the paddock because that's where the new stadium is supposedly going to be built.
They'll find some narrow alleys, or maybe they'll run through the corridors and down the aisles in the stadium to make it narrower and between the seats to get, to go back and around to stop it. Instead of stopping in the pits, they'll stop at the concession stands and get through the stadium that way.
Statman, I can promise you this, that Richard C. Suave, a residential here, him being a video game aficionado, he probably enjoyed today's race much better than you did because, again, the millennials, they don't take stock in finances or bottom lines. They and all kinds of shrapnel. They're down with it. They don't care. Right, Richie? Is that true? Is that how you feel about today's IndyCar race?
It was the same reason that Stat and I disagreed about last week's Cup race at IMS, is that it was entertaining to watch because it was so chaotic. And I thought the same thing about today's IndyCar race in Nashville too, where it was chaos. It was the best drivers in the world being put to the ultimate test and failing on multiple occasions. You had drivers driving from the back to the front on multiple occasions. Jimmy Johnson was running in the top 5. He lasted longer than some longtime veterans of the sport and damn near finished the race. Almost got himself a top 10 before he wrecked late in the race. And so I was really entertained by the Nashville GP today. And that's, as far as I'm concerned, I know that's all I care about. I just want to be entertained. And that's what I was watching Nashville today.
So you didn't mind that it was a gnarlicious carnage of palooza at all? That didn't bother you at all to watch 9 in 80 laps? They had 9 cautions.
No, it didn't. Not at all. No,
So
because I was entertained by it.
every 9 laps they had another caution. One of which they had to stop it at the end of the race to clean up the debris. That didn't bother you at all?
No. I'm used to watching NASCAR races that are like 3.5 hours long. So the fact that they still got this thing done in like 2.5 hours is like, all right, cool. Works for me.
You got me there. You got me there. When you got a NASCAR race that goes 6 hours and they jump across 6 networks, you got me there. I apologize.
Statman, do you have a colostomy bag or something? Because look, with those 6 freaking with those cautions, you get to go up and use the bathroom unless you're connected to a bag directed to the to the head.
No, gnarlicious carnage of palooza. Yeah, there you go.
Was that your word first hour, Kenny? Gnarlicious or
Statman just made up another one. There's
gnarlatry. Yeah.
Gnarlatry. Yes. Yeah. Gnarlatry.
Gnarlicious carnage palooza. No, I mean, I can't watch. As soon as they shift into 5th gear, they throw another flag. I mean, what's the point of that? And they race in alleys, and they got to move the homeless out of the way and move the trash cans out of the way when the cars go by. I mean, come on. These are some of the best drivers in America, and they can't find a better place to display their talent than running through an alley in Nashville. No.
It's a bridge. I love the bridge.
The bridge is fine. It's the alleys at the end of the bridge that are crazy.
Listen, you just take a hose to the lean-tos and get them out of the way, and you put an IndyCar track right through there. You'll be good to go.
There you go.
All right, Freak Nation. Crash Gladys Pit News and Notes coming up here, thanks to our friends at General Tire, and bringing in another round of affiliates there, Freak Nation.
Speed Freaks. We promise to suck less. Speed Freaks. Motorsports Radio redefined.
The Freaks.
Welcoming in another round of affiliates here in the Freak Nation. Thank you guys for hanging out. Coming up, Crash Gladys Pit News and Notes, brought to you by good friends at General Tire. Go to GeneralTire.com. That's GeneralTire.com to find the tires for your ride on this humid hellhole of a planet for at least the next month or so, right? Go to GeneralTire.com. What?
There's no climate change.
No.
No. Yeah,
Crash,
no.
Go.
All right, Music City Grand Prix, NASCAR in Michigan, sports cars back at Road America. Let's get to it. Okay, we didn't talk about sports cars in the first hour, so let's just say the IPSA series. Yay, back on track. They also had some rain, just a little bit, though. It was Road America. Ricky Taylor and Felipe Albuquerque took not just the win on the weekend, but now they have the series points lead. Yes. All right, Kenny, let's talk about your humid hellhole of Nashville. The TA2 cars for Trans Am were up first. They had their fair share of challenges and learning curves, avoiding the carnage and slower drivers. I love this story. I can't say it enough. 14-year-old Brent Cruz, his second consecutive win in the TA2 series, and now this one on a tight street circuit. And he drives for Trackhouse Racing. Don't forget this name, Brent Cruz. Stadium Super Trucks were next. Matt Brabham, he's just too plain good at almost every place they race. Brabham with another win. And then IndyCar. After the rain, IndyCar took to the track. A race similar to last year's Carnage Fest, or as Statman has coined, Carnage Palooza. Here's the deal, though. Amongst the broken parts and pieces last year and this year, we have that excitement. I'm going to agree with Richie here. Excitement for the fans as eventual winners. Marcus Ericsson last year, Scott Dixon this year, both came from the back and from a Carnage Fest of their own to win for the Music City crowds. Mother Nature reigned at Michigan, yet Michigan went on. First of all, it was Nick Sanchez winning in the ARCA Series, Ty Gibbs with victory in the Xfinity Series, and then Bubba Wallace vaulting his ride onto pole for Sunday. I was a little nervous, though, when I saw him running in the 20s throughout this race, but yes, Bubba redeemed himself with a second place, and it was Old Man Harvick. Nothing but domination for Old Man Harvick, taking the win in the Cup Series, and yes, now adding another name to their playoffs. 16 drivers, 15 of them winners. Whoa.
It's going to get good here in NASCAR if these new names keep winning this year. It's going to be gnarly. Freak Nation, looking forward to this one, man. Who's coming up next? Oh, Beth Paretta and Simona de Silvestro, big-time IndyCar Series owner and driver, next.
Speed Freaks, Motorsports Radio redefined.
One of the main reasons for poor vehicle performance is a dirty fuel system. It can cause decreased fuel economy and actually do harm to your engine over time. By adding Lucas Fuel Treatment to your vehicle, it cleans and lubricates the entire fuel system. Pump, carburetors, fuel injectors, and valves as you drive. It also improves your vehicle's performance. It's a non-solvent product designed to protect both gasoline and diesel engines. Lucas Fuel Treatment. It works.
General Tire was born more than 100 years ago, right here in America. We've spent the last century tackling every kind of road this country has to offer, and especially the places without roads. So you know that with General Tire, anywhere is possible.
Lucas Oil, it works.
I run Lucas Oil.
It doesn't matter if you're on the water,
driving to work,
or competing in a sold-out stadium.
Lucas Oil products will help you get the most out of your vehicle.
Monster Jam has run Lucas Oil in and on our trucks for over 10 years.
we wouldn't run anything else.
Lucas Oil, the official oil of Monster Jam.
Hey, Freak Nation, did you hear? With the addition of MAV TV Plus to the MAV TV Motorsports Network, they've got their full live event broadcast schedule, a total of 226 live race broadcasts featuring the ARCA Menard Series, the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series, Pro Pulling League, American Sprint Car Series, Pro Motocross, and the Lucas Oil Chili Bowl Nationals. MAV TV, the only television network dedicated to motorsports. Go to mavtv.com to get your motorsports fix 24/7, 365.
There is less than 1/100th of an inch of motor oil protecting your car's engine. Friction and heat causes engine oil to experience thermal breakdown, weakening its ability to protect the engine and its parts. Lucas Heavy Duty Oil Stabilizer is specially formulated to resist thermal breakdown, protect vital engine parts, and extend the life of your engine. It also stops smoking, knocking, and oil consumption in worn engines. Lucas Heavy Duty Oil Stabilizer. Keep that engine alive.
Hey, Freak Nation, whether you're looking for a tire that balances high-performance responsiveness and traction in wet and light snow conditions, excellent handling and traction in off-road situations, or a summer performance tire designed with the driving enthusiast in mind, General Tire has you covered. From the G-Max RS to the Grabber ATX, no matter what you drive, General Tire will get you where you're going. Learn more at GeneralTire.com. General Tire, supporting the Freak Nation for 2 decades.
You're listening to Speed Freaks, Motorsports Radio Redefined.
Coming up in moments, Beth Paretta, Simona de Silvestro, your IndyCar Series team owner and driver here in the Freak Nation, as I hang out in the bowels of Titans Stadium or Nissan Stadium where the Tennessee Titans play. I've been here all weekend, of course, for the Music City Grand Prix. This segment brought to you by our good friends at Lucas Oil. Go to lucasoil.com to find the right product to keep your rides on the road. Boat, motorcycle, sports car, they got it. You go get it at lucasoil.com. I met Beth Paretta many years ago, 12, 13 years ago, when she was one of the executives with Fiat Chrysler. Knew her through working with Dodge and Mopar. And then she got into ownership with the IndyCar Series. And she's working her way into full-time ownership in that running a team full-time, hopefully for 2023. But Simona de Silvestro is her driver right now. And they teamed up for a big weekend here in Nashville. Didn't finish the race, had issues, probably about 2/3 through the race. But regardless, I caught up with them earlier. The things you'll hear from these two wonderful women are fantastic. IndyCar Series driver Simona de Silvestro and team owner Beth Paretta. Now, SpeedFreaks Pits and the Lucas Oil Studios. Hey, Simona.
Yes.
You and I have something in common. One is I stand outside and I sweat my ass off. You sit in a car in a fire suit and sweat your ass off. You have aero screens on these Indy cars. Does that allow any air to get into the cockpit at all to cool you off when you're running?
A little bit. There's like some little openings that do bring some air in, and but it's definitely been pretty hot this weekend for sure. So there's a little bit of air, but you don't really feel it that much.
Does it get to you to a point where it takes over some of your thought process in a car when it's that humid?
Well, I don't know. Not really. I always feel it, when I'm kind of sitting in the pit box, because you start kind of you chill, and that's where you kind of realize, okay, it's pretty hot. But like, I feel like when I'm driving, I don't really feel it that much, because I'm so focused on what I'm doing and stuff like that. So for me, it's never really bothered me like so far. But also I haven't run with the aero screen in a really hot conditions. But for sure, I think in the race we'll be running cool shirt.
Beth, I can read until I'm blue in the face on why you chose Nashville to run. Has your opinion changed? Why run Nashville?
Because of the heat. So I was here last year for an event, and so last year was the inaugural year of the Music City Grand Prix, and I certainly was amazed and blown away. Nashville's a great city. It's a great hosting city because they know hospitality. They know how to put on an event and put on a show. So it was no surprise that the event would be so great. So I had fun last year, and I thought, okay, they're onto something. And so when I talked to Simona about the list of, made the decision early in the year that we weren't going to do the Indy 500. I said, what do you think about doing like a handful of other races? And here's the list of what I'm thinking of, and really not what I'm thinking of. Here's a list of what we could do. What do you want to do? And Simona actually picked the races, and Nashville was on the list, like top of the list, because when you can explain why from a driver's perspective, but as soon as she said it, I agreed, because from a commercial perspective, we have new partners here this weekend. I mean, it's such a party and it's such a great atmosphere, and everybody's having such a good time that it's a great place to bring people, and it's a great place to kind of show off IndyCar and show off, you know, the rest of what goes on with being part of an IndyCar series. And so from that perspective, plus we had great television viewership last year. There's a lot of reasons why this is a great event. So I wasn't thinking about the humidity though.
Why did you choose Nashville?
I think the event looked really cool, to be honest, when I watched it last year. And then I think it was important for us to also go on a street course, because we had done Road America and Mid-Ohio, and for where the team wants to go, you know, it was important that we get one street course in. And I think Nashville is really cool. I think, yeah, like Beth said, for the partners, it was you know, it makes a lot of sense when you walk around downtown. It's kind of cool, and I think everyone is pretty pumped about the weekend. And I also thought, you know, that it's going to be such a chaos, and if we are a little bit smart, you know, and have a little bit of luck, you know, we can really look pretty shiny as well. So
yeah,
that's
you
why
look
I
at
picked
what
it.
happened last year. Like last year was chaotic. Anything can happen, and so you know, you want to just kind of take a chance, right? And put your hat in the ring, and then you get a shot. I mean, we went shopping for boots last night because we thought we're in. So someone has never been to Nashville.
Yeah, I've never been. My dad has been here like a few years ago, and to be honest, I walked around downtown, and I was pretty mesmerized by what is going on. It was
a lot of bachelorette parties.
Yes, it was
a lot of sashes and tiaras.
Yes, very interesting. I was debating, you know, if we need to change our attire.
We probably honestly,
maybe we're too proper.
I think that was a miss. Yeah. I think our fire suits this weekend were a miss. We probably, if we were to do this next year, we might change it up.
1991, when I moved to LA, people would still ask. And seriously, they would ask, do you still ride horses to work? Do you still wear cowboy boots? It's the perception. It was so stupid. I said, well, do you guys still carry your surfboards to the office? No. When you thought of Nashville, what did you think of? Did you think of country and western and?
Well, I did a little bit, but I'm quite like amazed that people really walk around like that. You know what I mean? I feel like nowadays, like you kind of lose that, you know. And I think yesterday when I walked around, to see like so many people in cowboy boots with their hats, I think it was just really cool, because I feel like we lose that so quickly nowadays, and it was I think it's
we
amazing.
Become like homogenous, and we lose our little differences.
We all look the same and stuff like that. And here they're really like, you know, pulling it off still, and I think, you know, I think it's quite fun to see.
It's amazing, the live music too. We were walking around last night, and it's just like how much just good music. I mean, like bar to bar, restaurant to restaurant, with the windows open, so you're hearing it, and just how much good talent is out there. Like that's just
like it makes you want to go out.
It's a special.
You know what
setting.
I mean?
City Grand Prix.
Yeah, exactly. It makes
we totally didn't. We didn't read the whole.
So
we didn't read the whole memo. We're learning that now.
When I went to my first Long Beach Grand Prix, it was '91. And that's when I started to get my taste of the race is secondary, it's the party. Right. And that's what you're talking about, Nashville, entertaining those clients, potential clients. Have a great time. Your driver may be in the back of the field, but damn it, you're hammered and you're on top of the table having a good time with your partners. Is that where we are with Nashville?
It is, but I think the other thing too that people need to understand too is because like basically Nashville's going on and a race broke out, right? So what's great for the series is you often will get people that will go to the race who are not racing fans. It's an event going on in their town. So street courses are always an opportunity for us to introduce people to the sport. So I think for just the future health of what we're doing here, racing in general, like going to cities is always just a way to reach people that wouldn't have otherwise. You know, if you're going to Road America, you know that the IndyCar race is going on, and you're a pretty dedicated fan. If you're going to Road America, you don't stumble upon Road America, but you might be in town in Long Beach or be in town in Nashville or Toronto or St. Pete, Florida, and say, oh, what's going on? Oh, this looks interesting. Let's buy a ticket for the day and kind of stumble upon it. And that's that serendipitous moment where you might be able to create a fan long term. And I mean those are like magical moments.
Beth, we've had frank conversations on SpeedFreaks before, and there's two questions. One question I know Crash would ask if she was here. I'll ask the general question. If you were a male sitting right here, would you have a full-time team right now?
It's such a loaded question. I know why you're asking it, and I don't know that I can emphatically say that, because there's other teams out there that are new that, you know, would I be further along? Yes. Was were there some doors closed on me a couple of years ago when some people could have opened them? Yes. So would I be further along? Sure. But are people and sponsors and partners now looking at us differently? And like this weekend, we have a new sponsor, our primary sponsor in Acumatica. It's a software, cloud-based ERP system software company. They were looking at getting into racing. They couldn't really find something that fit. And and this was just a couple of weeks ago, as soon as our team was presented to them, literally within a couple of hours, they said yes, and here's the signed agreement. So they said yes because of what we're doing. So now, that was always my hope, and now we're seeing that happen. So hopefully that momentum kind of sticks.
When I'm at a NASCAR race and now an IndyCar race, we'll see more black people.
Yes.
It's a fact.
Yes.
It's awesome.
Yep.
Front offices, back offices, crews,
yes,
engineers.
Yeah.
Same with IndyCar. But it's disappointing we don't see the influx of women that we would like. I don't want to use discriminatory terms here, but is it because they don't know what doors to walk through? Is that where you see it, honestly?
Yeah, I think there's just a lot of not knowing that it's available to them, and so for that reason, I came to this very late in my career. This is a career change for me, right? And if I had known about it as a 6-year-old, 7-year-old, whatever. If my parents weren't, I don't come from a racing family, so I had to kind of find my way here eventually. But I think one of the things, so Lindsay and James and I started this thing called Women in Motorsport North America, and it's just really a way to aggregate information. It's a website so that young women, people that are looking to maybe make a career change or advance their career, it's a resource for educational programs, jobs boards, finding a mentor, all of these things. Let's just put it in one place, because our industry is so fragmented. I mean, we know there's IndyCar, NASCAR, sports car, NHRA. It's just so fragmented. I think a lot of times people might have an interest, and it never occurs to them that an interest could lead to a career and a career path. I mean, with all due, a driver is a very visible thing. So you can be like, oh, I want to be a quarterback of a football team. I want to be a racing driver. Like, those are very obvious things. But the average fan might not even know all the roles on a race team. We don't talk about it. And shame on racing to never really be telling that story for how many years. We know all the positions on a football team. We know, in a basketball team, small team. But we know all the things in then you have something like Major League Baseball, and you've got this, really strong minor leagues. We know AAA, AA, single A. We all sort of, even tangentially, we know it exists. We don't really know that as much about racing. And that's a years of probably not telling the story the way we could have. So I think we're doing it now. And you know what? Better late than never.
So when I met you in 2011 with Dodge Mopar SRT, we were partners with Mopar at the time.
Yeah.
Did you have any inclination that you wanted to go open wheel racing?
No. Well, it's funny to say that. Yes and no. Personally, so I've been a fan of all of it my whole life, right? But I actually looked at IndyCar for FCA, for Fiat Chrysler. Because of course they used to court, and they still do. They're trying to get another OEM, trying to get a third OEM. So I absolutely had meetings with IndyCar then. I remember being at Indy, being at Detroit, sitting down with then Randy Bernard, and a bunch of folks. And I was looking at it for Fiat or Alfa Romeo. Spoiler. So cat's out of the bag. Mm-hmm. Yep. So that kind of got me into it, and then eventually, wound up becoming friends with some people in IndyCar, and then I was in the paddock all the time, and then got to know a bunch of people that way. I also because we hired Ryan Hunter-Reay with the Viper team, so then I got to know Michael Andretti. I might have been doing a deal to get Michael Andretti into NASCAR with Dodge. That might have happened if I look back.
But you got Kurt Busch.
I fired Kurt Busch.
Yes. Yeah. That's why I brought that up.
I did fire Kurt Busch. We're better about it now. We got over it.
Simona, you hear Beth either blazing a trail or running down trails that have been blazed for her to where she is now. Do you have any inclination when you finally get your butt out of a car to become?
Oh, wow!
I don't know.
De Silvestro Autosport.
Doesn't
it have a flavor to it? De Silvestro Ferrari.
Yeah, I don't know. I think for me, racing has been all my life, and I don't know if I maybe would do something completely different, to be honest. But I haven't really thought about it. Because I'm more the person who's kind of in the thing when I'm in it, you know, and not really thinking too much about what's next or anything like that. So I don't know, maybe it could be something completely different. Yeah.
Again, I refer to my daughter all the time, and I probably tear up talking about her. But watching her, when she watches mom and dad's like, man, I hate your job. You're just, you know, when she watches people like you and Beth in positions, women in particular, you could tell that there's something in her that she gravitates towards. It's a big deal. So to get your face out there is important, whether it's writing checks or taking the checks. I think it's important that because you're fun. You're fun. You're not an like some people that we know in the business. Because it's just as a father of a young girl, it's just awesome.
You see it.
Yeah.
So this is a crazy thing. So like even last year working with Team Penske, this year working with Ed Carpenter, there's that moment where I'm wondering like how the guys are going to be, because we're working very closely with these guys, right? We're bringing these women up. The way that the magic of how we make our team happen is there weren't enough women to have a pro IndyCar team. There weren't women at that level of training and skill set. So we had to take rookies. We had to take people from other racing series who had some knowledge, and then now they had, no matter what, even if they were experienced and had been doing tires for 15 years, they'd never done tires in IndyCar, so they still had to learn it, right? So the way that you do it is we have them paired up with these experienced guys on the team. And the question was always, you know, how are those guys going to how are they going to do with this? You know, what are they thinking about this? And are they going to think this is a drag and whatever? And it's interesting to see the guys early on who had daughters, who took to it differently and immediately, and then not slowly. I mean, it wasn't really that big, you know, but to just see them be so excited to impart whatever wisdom, because all the women on our team are hard workers. They're interested in learning. I mean, how great is that when you see somebody that's interested in wanting to do what you do? And I think it's also reinvigorated a lot of them, because, you know, you do this 20 years, you can do anything for 20 years. You can get jaded, you can get salty about it. And so it's like this nice little, like they have a nice little, you know, excitement level about like, hey, this is really cool. And it's also, they see it as investing in the future too. So it's kind of cool. But yeah, I think the idea of women seeing role models or seeing examples, it actually is kind of in our biology. I did a bunch of research about this one, because the whole thing is very well thought out. I mean, I had the idea, but then I started doing research, and I didn't want to do anything by halves. And we're not going to undo the way that young girls and young women, you know, kind of see things and respond to things. So the answer was, all right, we're not going to fix that, so you just give more examples. The answer is just give more examples. And respectfully, that's why I say, like, there were women in racing. We're just putting a spotlight on them. That's it. Like, we're not doing anything different. There are women throughout the IndyCar paddock, but if we kind of put them in a bunch and you see them in this like critical mass, that's what you're paying attention to now. If you see one person, if you see Anna Chatton on one team, but the camera doesn't go on Anna Chatton, well, it needs to, right? She's phenomenal at what she does. Because the thing about racing too is you can't suck at this, really. You have to be good at it, right? You're not going to last very long, you know? So you're here because you earned your spot, and I think that's what's kind of nice, is it winds up being an equalizer, because these women are proving that they can do the job. And how great is that? I mean, you saw us in the Indy 500 last year. Simona qualified that. That car had no business qualifying last year. The only reason that car qualified is because of Simona driving it. And these women who we hired, we taught them how to pit a car in the Indy. They were rookies. They'd never been in the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. They'd never been to an IndyCar race before we hired them. And we trained them in 3.5 months to pit a car in the 500. And they did in less than 5 seconds. And you can't fake it. So you want to know whether or not we can do it? We'll show you.
Whatever you do, General Tire delivers.
Drama at 200 miles per hour. It's not a reality show. It's real life, real fast. IndyCar, only at WWT Raceway, the Bommarito Automotive Group 500, Saturday, August 20th.
Summer is finally here. Cookouts, pool parties, and rising gas prices. Time to start using Lucas Fuel Treatment. Lucas Fuel Treatment improves mileage, increases power, and lowers emissions. It's a virtual tune-up in a bottle. Just pour it directly into the tank for a dramatic improvement in the performance of your vehicle. Good for gas and diesel engines. Lucas Fuel Treatment. Get it now at your local auto parts store.
Lucas Oil Studios, Freak Nation, 22 years of Lucas Oil here in the Freak Nation. If you have a snappy little cell phone or an iPad or what the kids call a computer nowadays, go to lucasoil.com and find the products to keep your rides on the road. Speedboats, motorcycles, that 67 Mustang. I always go to 67 Mustangs, Statman.
Yeah, you do.
Why don't I go to like a 69 Camaro? What's the problem here?
A 67 Goat is the best car ever created.
Okay.
Blue with white vinyl interior.
All right. Well, your Lucas Oil products should be in and outside of that freaking 67 Goat. You get it, Freak Nation? Go to lucasoil.com. I'm not going to lie to you, but we were chatting it up earlier with Dave Prater, Vice President with Feld Motorsports, before he joined us. And he joins us now here in the Freak Nation. And Prater, finding out that you were hired at Feld almost the same time we started this damn show, you look pretty damn good for a guy that's, 75, 76, if you're watching this on YouTube.
Yeah, thanks. It's I've always said it's not the years, it's the mileage. So, it may be a lot more than 22. So we've got some miles on us.
All right. Well, let's be honest. We've got you on here because the announcement came out earlier this week that there is a $10 million purse that's someone found this in someone's pockets before they were putting the jeans in the washer. $10 million purse collectively between motocross and supercross, and you're establishing another smaller, shorter series between those two entities for this $10 million purse. Can you work us through the elevator pitch on how this came about and this $10 million that was found?
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be tough to put it in an elevator pitch, but I'll do the best I can. So it really all began in 2020 with a conversation that myself and Todd Gendro had with MX Sports, Kerry Coombs, and Davey Coombs. So went to Daytona and really would just went there with the intent to have a conversation about growing the sport and how we could better work together, because over my 22 years, we'd never really done that. It was really siloed as far as supercross and motocross goes. So had that conversation, walked out of there with really not much of a plan, just kind of hey, we're going to help each other sell tickets. And a week later is when the world shut down and COVID shut down Indianapolis Supercross. And we really were forced to start working together much more closely in an effort just to finish our 2020 seasons. So started that collaboration. MX Sports moved the motocross season back a bit so we could finish our 7 races in Salt Lake City. And just through constant communication really on that and getting that, finished, we started to realize that there were a lot more similarities between the two companies than we first believed. And we started kind of discussing what it would be like to pool our resources and go to market together in certain areas. So the first item that was up was MX Sports media rights. And they had a year left on their NBC deal. We had 2 years left. And so they really had never been that closely aligned as far as chronologically. So started discussing taking it to market together as one Supercross and motocross package. And once we did that, started getting a lot of traction, a lot of interest from media companies and from, just across the board on what this would look like as a larger championship, not just 2 individual championships. So that's kind of how it went. And then it grew from there as we spoke to more media companies and just more people in the industry in general. The one thing we kept hearing is modern sports fans, albeit mostly stick and ball, but modern sports fans have come to expect a postseason playoff system as well as a Super Bowl or, World Series, a crowning event, if you will. So that's not quite the elevator pitch because it's tough to put all that in a few floors, but that's kind of how it all started and came together.
That's the John Hancock Building elevator pitch. That works.
Exactly.
I'll take it. Dave Prater, Vice President, Feld Motorsports, of course, the behemoth behind Supercross, now partnering up with Outdoor for a $10 million purse for the smaller series that's going to go off postseason. And you touched on something about, I can't remember exactly what you said, but they're 22 years of SpeedFreaks. They motocross, Supercross, like at one time, kart and IndyCar. You look at the kart and IndyCar cars, they look the same. You look at a motocross bike, Supercross bike, they look the same. But the way the entities treated the series, we weren't. And the fans got jobbed on that, frankly. And so it had to be, I would think, was it a breaking of bread where you got you guys in the room with the motocross guys? Because there was a split there that we're better. No, we're better because we were the original. No, we got more fans here. How did that happen? Because there was a big divide there.
Yeah, definitely there was. I mean, we were confrontational, for lack of a better term, instead of complimentary. So it had been that way probably for the first 50 years of this thing. So it was something that was just kind of there, and had been that way for, like we said, since 1972. But I don't know about the breaking of bread. I think it was a long process from that meeting in Daytona in 2020 through COVID. But we all, both MX Sports and Feld Motorsports, started realizing that, look, we're definitely stronger together than we are as two separate entities. So we want to still maintain the integrity of the Supercross Championship and the integrity of the Motocross Championship, but we really are two variations of the same sport. So to your point, let's take this and do what's right by the fans and make it that much more exciting.
So the Motocross Supercross fan base wants to say, oh, this is a knee-jerk reaction to the World Motocross Championship that was announced. Oh, of course, this had to happen. Please shut them up, I guess, first of all. And then second of all, let's just talk about how powerful this will be and how you guys have arguably a better game plan. Facts.
No, yeah, it's definitely, in no way a reaction. It was born in 2020, and it's just been really, like we've talked about on this call so far, it's just been an evolution of us meeting and understanding it and doing some research. We sent out some fan surveys in early 21, asking, because we were getting excited about it in early 21, but we wanted to make sure that, hey, we're not too close to it. Let's ask the fans what they think. And the fans came back overwhelmingly that, look, we'd love to see a unified championship. We do believe that this is really two variations of the same sport. So, I mean, it was a no-brainer after we got those surveys back.
And then when you make these tracks, it's going to be a kind of a 3-race series after the motocross series ends. It's just going to be a phenomenal way to cap a true champion in both 250s and 450s. But when you make these tracks, whether it's the Coliseum in LA or other locations, how will these tracks differentiate from a Supercross track normally because they are in stadiums?
Yeah, it'll be tough. So it's for lack of a better term, we've used the term hybrid, but really they're going to be distinct. We want them to be both Supercross and motocross and have aspects of both. You can't really fit a motocross track inside a modern stadium. It's just too small. So we're going to have to go to unique venues. LA Coliseum is probably one of the modern stadiums. I say modern, but one of the stadiums that still exists that it will fit in, because it's got a larger floor. We can go up into the peristyle that's traditionally been done. But so that's cool, and we're excited about that. But we're really looking at, super speedways or just unique sporting venues, or just venues in general that you wouldn't think Supercross or motocross are going to go to. But we're definitely looking at those and creating unique tracks. We're working with the OEMs, working with the riders to make sure that those tracks, are acceptable and do represent both sports in an equal way.
Okay, hold on just a second. So the little Supercross teaser at Indianapolis Motor Speedway that was happening with some four-wheel mobiles as well, was that a foreshadowing?
You never know, Crash. There's a lot of foreshadowing going on. I think all the possibilities. We don't want to limit any possibilities, so we're open to any and all ideas right now.
Wow. Dave Prater is the vice president of Feld Motorsports, specializing in Supercross, putting together this massive series. Only 3 events they're starting with, melding together Lucas Oil Motocross Series and the Monster Energy Supercross Series. I introduced you, Dave. There it is.
Thanks, Dad, man. I appreciate it.
Now, I'm going to ask you a delicate question here.
All right.
It comes from a serious place. I've been involved in motorsports a long time, and the Sports Car Club of America used to be the place where they would go to sanction mall racing. They had a pro division, and that pro division just didn't meet the needs of pro racers. It was specializing in amateur racing, Sports Car Club of America, SCCA. And now you're going to put the sanctioning body behind this. It sounds like it's going to be with AMA, and the AMA Pro Racing, even though the organization specializes in amateur motorcycle riders. Is that going to be a problem? The SCCA couldn't do it. I don't know if the AMA can do it, because you're bringing together a $10 million series that's going to have a lot of tentacles that are going throughout the motorcycle industry.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a challenge. And you bring up a good point, but AMA sanctions Supercross, AMA Pro sanctions motocross. So the other thing that's been, benefit to this collaboration is the fact that both those organizations, while they sound the same, they are 2 individual organizations, have also been involved. So they're working together. We want to make this as good as it can be for everyone involved. So AMA Pro are both working together in order to come up with a plan where these 2 playoff races and the World Championship round can be sanctioned and operated and officiated as efficiently and fairly as possible. So AMA Pro and all the OEMs, along with MX Sports and Feld Motorsports, we've created a steering committee for that, along with multiple other, issues that are going to come up during this process. So had our first meeting 2 weeks ago, and we plan on having another one here shortly.
That sounds like a lot of people in the same room.
It is.
Are you expecting increased fields? I don't know. When I was reading about this, it hit me that how many riders do both, and is this going to be increased fields where you're going to have a crowded track?
No, I don't think so. I mean, the entries are extremely strong, but most, I'd say, I don't have the exact number, but I'd say 90 to 95% of our riders do race both. So I think we'll be fine. I mean, we typically, for a Supercross event, get between 90 to 100 entries. That's qualified down to 80 for the night show. And then motocross typically gets a few more entries. But same thing, they have a 40 rider gate. Supercross has a 22 rider gate, but for the most part, it's the same riders. And then the top 22 in combined points at the end of the motocross season will go and be seeded into the Super Motocross playoffs.
Wow. So it sounds like maybe Dave Prater, vice president of Feld Motorsports, it sounds like with this much money at stake, you're going to have some people from overseas more than normally come to Supercross or motocross because the money brings people, and the TV will bring people. Do you expect a lot of international field, more international field?
Yeah, well, I mean, we already have a strong international presence, and we have for many, many years. Supercross and AMA Pro Motocross have always, attracted international talent, and we continue to do so. But you're right. I think anytime you raise the level and raise the the stakes in anything, you're going to get more attention. So I definitely think we're going to attract even more international riders by going and partnering together.
Dave, let me ask you one more. I'm sure in these meetings that you're having with all of your partners, you're going to have some broadcasters in there. I would assume that this $10 million is coming up from a lot of their pockets, so they're going to be able to rattle the cage a little bit and say, hey, let's make it look like this.
Yeah, I think anytime, especially in modern sports, I mean, media rights are driving a lot of it. So, yeah, whichever media partner we land with, we'll definitely take their feedback. And that's really no different than what's been going on the last several years. So, yeah, I think anytime you get to this type of level in anything, you're going to have folks that are spending real money that want to say in what's going on.
You're going to be taking the top 22 riders in both series, Dave Prater, Vice President.
No, the combined
combined
points.
But,
yes.
Hold on a second. Top 22 riders in motocross, top 22 riders in Supercross. Hold on, Crasher. Hold on. Let me finish this. And whatever it is, you're going to nail it down to the top 22 riders, okay? Okay, Crasher, whatever. The top 22 riders. My point is, how do you get to those top 22 riders to join? Is it basically, what's going to be the abacus that you use to get these 22 riders?
Well, I think Crash was what she was trying to say. So we're going to take the points, the combined points. So say you score 300 points in Supercross and 300 points in motocross. That'll give you 600 combined points.
Okay.
Say that's number one. He's the regular season champ, if you will. Second place is 590 points. So those 22 will go into the playoffs seeded, and we'll reset the points. And we're still working through exactly how we're going to do that with the OEs, but we'll reset the points so that regular season points leader has an advantage going into the playoffs over second place. And then
what's that advantage? Do they get to pick their choice at the gate?
No, a point advantage. So whether that's one race worth of Supercross points, so a typical Supercross race, the winner is 23 points or 26 points. Second place is 23, third 21, and so on. So whether we reset it to one race worth of points, which seems logical and seems like the direction we're going to go, but it's still up for discussion with the OEs. But that's really what it is. So your regular season results are going to give you an advantage going into the playoffs. And then at the playoffs, we're going to actually up the points a bit for each playoff round. So it just raises the stakes, and the drama also gives those guys who maybe didn't perform as well in the regular season a chance to win the championship at the end.
So wait a minute. Let me leap in here. I'm sorry to cut everybody off, but does that mean that, like in NASCAR, their playoff, everybody races, 46 cars, and only 4 people have a chance to win? When you have these playoff rounds in Supercross and motocross and the super motocross, is it just going to be the 22 riders that are going to be competing, or will you have other riders that are going to be on the track at the same time?
Yeah, well, I'm hesitant to talk. So I'm talking to you guys about the kind of the steering committee. So the steering committee is going to be like, Dave, you just did one of our meetings with SpeedFreaks. Thanks. But no, so I'll give you basically how it's laying out right now. So yes, 22 riders qualify for the playoffs. So those 22 would race. There's a question, and I believe we're going to go this way, but for anyone who's made a Supercross or motocross podium or won a race for sure, they should be automatically into the playoffs. Now, they're going to be seated extremely low if they're not within that top 22, but it could be, someone's injured. Case in point, Cameron McAdoo this year. He's been injured, so he wouldn't necessarily make the top 22 if we were going into the playoffs right now, but he's one of the best riders in the world. So you want him in. You just want him in at a disadvantage. So again, getting ahead of myself with the details, but we want the best riders in the world competing for the world championship, and that's the goal and that's the plan.
No, that's essentially like a provisional, and it rewards wins, which is good because that means wins matter in Supercross and motocross beyond just the points for the end of the season. So yeah, that's actually cool. And then when it comes to your 3-race playoff system, then qualifying matters because if you are in there with more than 22 riders that are going to be on the starting gate, you got to qualify to be in. So that adds another element of excitement. I'm liking where this is going.
Nice. I'm glad.
Yeah, this is good.
All right. Statman, you know what this brings to mind is when we were standing field level in Las Vegas many, many years ago, and that back, they would leave the stadium and come down that back stretch, and they're going 65 miles an hour. Imagine something.
Was that the Monster Energy Cup?
Yeah, I don't know what the hell, whatever it was.
Or
it
the
was
finale,
regardless. Imagine something being on the line, like getting in for this $10 million purse, how nuts it's going to be. I mean, with Chad Reed and James Stewart, you think that was gnarly when they went outside the stadium on that long flat track turn? Think about what's going to happen now to get in for this $10 million. Prater, Stat?
I know. It's going to be exciting. I'm looking forward to it. There's going to be some fireworks for sure.
So now it makes sense why Ryan Dungey came out of retirement this year. He's just getting ready because he knew it was coming in 2023.
Yeah, I will keep my mouth shut.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe a little bit of truth to that.
I love Ryan.
Okay, so we know Los Angeles is on the map. You've taken the track outside the stadium there on Las Vegas at Sam Boyd. You're going to head back to Las Vegas?
I'd love to go back to Las Vegas. Sam Boyd, if Sam Boyd was available, it'd be on the short list. But unfortunately, it's not available at the moment. So we'll see. But one day, if we can get back in there, if it's still around, maybe we'll give it a shot.
So you saying there's a chance?
No, stop it. I'm saying Indianapolis Motor Speedway. He already teased us with super speedways, so maybe Las Vegas Motor Speedway too. Get the little Burton Smith group back in there because you worked with them with Atlanta. I'm seeing where this is going. Yeah, we got this.
Just having them come out of the peristyle.
Yes.
Out of that with 450s for crying out loud. They're liable to leap out of the peristyle of midfield.
Yeah, you're right.
Evil Knievel's going to be rolling in his grave, man, going, man, I used to do this on a freaking boxcar. These guys are jumping 24 buses on a 450. Wow.
Oh, my gosh.
Well, Prater, hopefully this wasn't as painful as you anticipated.
No, always happy and love talking to you guys. Appreciate it.
Well, I got to say this, though, real quick before we let you go. You talked about how this all kind of came about COVID-wise. You know, the initial conversation of you guys melding the series together, indoor and outdoor, came together before the world shut down, but COVID helped facilitate this, like Kenny mentioned earlier, breaking of bread. Our relationship with both Supercross and motocross riders got bigger during COVID too. So whatever you were putting in the water there, it helped all around, and more interviews were coming, and we really appreciate that. It's helped everywhere. So thank you.
No, yeah, I think if there's one thing that COVID did was forced us all to communicate more. And when you communicate, you realize, hey, I've got a lot more in common with those folks than I realized. So I think as long as we keep that up and keep talking to each other, it's only going to get better and better.
Hey, Prater, let's test your knowledge. You see what's over my shoulder there, Skippy?
Where's it?
Can you see what that is?
Which one?
Come on.
The pants.
I see the pants. Yeah, I see the pants.
What year? Well, you know where and who from?
Well, I would say Carmichael. Year. Oh, my friend, you're gonna get me. 2004. 5. 6.
Yes.
Yeah, 2006.
There you go.
All right. I started to say 6, but that was his last year, so that's even. Those are nice, man. I like it.
Well done.
Okay,
you did good.
Okay, where? It wasn't freaking St. Louis or Seattle. Where? Wait, look at the Longhorn. Where was that?
Well, I'd say somewhere in Texas. Dallas.
Home of the Cowboys, baby.
Of course. Of course.
Damn it. Right.
Oh, Lottie.
Look, my entire family are Cowboys fans.
Good for them.
That's why I went my dad grew up in Baltimore, so I'm a Colts fan, but I just couldn't do it. And they all love the Cowboys, But anyway, for another day, we'll talk about it.
Yeah, right. That's
Well, I will say,
oh hell,
hold on. With a mutual partner, Lucas Oil, now of course they're with the Outdoor Series. They sponsor both the Colts and the Cowboys. Those are their only 2 NFL teams, so your family's in good hands.
They are, exactly. I'm a huge Colts fan still. I left a little bit. I left for a little while when they left Baltimore, but then I'm like, I'm back. So I've been an Indianapolis Colts fan for a long, long time.
Boom.
There's some room for Statman's Browns.
No. Not after the last 6 months. The last 6 days, for crying out loud. Yeah.
All right.
Got to put all that on another shelf.
There it is. Dave, thanks for doing this, buddy.
Thank you, guys.
All right, buddy.
See you soon.
All right. Bye-bye.
Dave Prater here in the Freak Nation, of course, VP of Feld Motorsports. And there were some, nuggets dropped in there that...
I'm going to keep pushing that IMS thing.
Right.
I mean, they did. They had Supercross riders jumping rally cars and Indy cars just a few months ago. Why did that come together? I think they were testing a track. I'm just going to say it.
Yeah, I just love the idea. I hope, against all hope, that they can figure out AMA, even the pro racing. I know they've sponsored it before. The SCCA thought they could get away with it too, but when your backbone is based on amateur racing, having a committee for pro racing with $10 million at stake, TV contracts, and huge international fields, that changes everybody's idea of what's going on. And it even changed. It's even changing college football, for crying out loud.
That's where I was going. Hell, this just sounds like the NIL rules with college football, staff.
Yeah, no, it's coming. Everything's changing. The Big Ten is from Maryland to USC, for crying out loud. I mean, everything is changing, and I don't know that amateur ideas will fit this thing as it grows, because it's going to grow, and especially with the international fields and $10 million. That gets my attention, and I don't even ride a motorcycle anymore.
I'm just glad he touched on it, because there was real, true division between outdoor and Supercross. It was just there. We remember we had guests on our show come in with a hard hat and a baseball bat in reference to Supercross and motocross, and who would have thought?
Yeah, no, it did, and you could hear that. We didn't talk about it much, but you could hear it when they talked about it, and it sounded like 2 seasons. I think something else I read was they're talking about maybe 31 races with the 3 event playoffs, and that might be too much. I mean, these guys are...
Actually, I'm going to cut you off right there, because what's happening is right now the series, the engine manufacturers commit to 30 races a season. So Monster Energy Cup went away, so then it went down to 29. Next year, to make this work, the outdoor season is going to take away a race. So it's going to be a net total of 31, only one more than what the manufacturers have committed to in the past. So essentially, it's the same thing. Outside looking in, it seems like it's a lot more on these riders, but essentially it's not.
Yeah, well, it's too much. These guys are crashing and tearing up their bodies at 20 races for 17 races for Supercross. Imagine doubling that and say, go do it. I don't care how much money's at stake. It's going to be difficult. And I think if they could get it down to about 25, it will increase the value of the franchise and have more people looking in. I think NASCAR is finding that out. For 22 years. We've been talking about too many races. It's got to matter who wins and loses every race in order for the fan to check in. And if they could get it down under 30 to like 25, that would be cool.
Freak Nation, be sure to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and of course the website, speedfreaks.tv.